So Paul is saying at the beginning of this passage that people are perishing because they believe that this way of the cross is not the way. And it makes sense. Like I said in the story at the beginning, it doesn't seem logical to say, come on, everybody, let's go die to ourselves. That's not a good time. Yet Paul also says that we who choose to follow in this way, we who choose to live out the wisdom of God, that it is realizing that this cruciform wisdom is actually the way of life. And how can Paul get there? Well, as a result of following this way, he says that we are being saved. So it's not as though we start to follow this way and then something clicks immediately and all of a sudden we're saved. But no, that salvation is a process. Salvation is an ongoing event. It will be complete one day, yes, but it's also in process every moment of every day. Every time that we choose to live the way of Christ instead of the way of our selfishness, the way of the world, we are being saved in that moment. I think that's a really profound thing for us to grasp this morning. So if we are going to juxtapose these two, the wisdom of the world and the wisdom of Jesus, the wisdom of God, where does the wisdom of the world lead us? To a point, there's goodness. There's a certain amount of goodness that we, through our own wisdom and our own minds, this beautiful gift of a brain that God's given us, we can bring about some goodness in the world. And the Code of Hammurabi was a good start at the time, but if you were to juxtapose the two, compare them, you could see that God was pushing the envelope. God was calling them to more because our conventional wisdom doesn't take us far enough. And it peters out after a time. We run out of energy, of goodwill. There's some good that we can do, but it doesn't go far enough. And God's way is always progressing toward freedom and toward liberation, whereas we may want to put a stop to it at some point because we're more invested in keeping things as they are.